Danny Murphy and Simon Jordan are with me. Mr. Murphy, where do you stand on the Gareth Bale debate? Gareth Bale now back at Tottenham. Is he beginning to show what he's got still in his armoury?
Yeah, I mean, I think the performance yesterday and the one where he came on against West Ham were really encouraging. He looked fit, sharp, a goal threat, looked glimpses of the old Gareth Bale, exactly what we expected to see when he came. The only disappointment is we haven't seen it earlier. Can we apportion blame to Gareth himself? I don't know is the answer. Or has Mourinho been holding him back? They're questions only they know within the club. But it certainly pleases me to see Gareth playing that well and that confident and looking like... I mean, the movement and the link-up play between Bale, Kane, Son and Moura was phenomenal. It really was. That would cause any team problems, those four. So it was a pleasure to watch. I mean... getting too engrossed in, this blame culture of why he hasn't been doing it earlier or is it too late? I mean, the fact is, it's pleasing on the eye. It's great to see. Nobody wants to see people fail. I like seeing people succeed, and Gareth Bale especially, because he's a beautiful player to watch.
Well, yeah, that takes me to your broadcast colleague, Mr. Jordan, who's sitting quite quietly beside me here at this stage. Because are you the same Simon Jordan who said that Gareth Bale recently should be pulled up by the trading standards?
Yes, I am. Because at that point I was right. At that point, I was right. You can't argue against it. At the point that I said that, I said to you, we've had 6 months now of Gareth Bale being sat here. When are we going to see Gareth Bale? The Gareth Bale that people want to see, the Gareth Bale that earns the kind of money that Gareth Bale earns, hasn't landed on our landscape, and it's not really good enough. Where is he? Now, we move forward 3 weeks, and now we see Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want me to do? You want me to say, oh, it's a day late and a dollar short, which is part of my thinking, or do you want me to say, great that he's doing it, he is where he is, but I'm still of the mindset that why is it taking so long to get him to this point?
I don't want you to say anything.
Yes, he was brilliant. He was brilliant yesterday.
You should tell us honestly.
But he was brilliant yesterday. He was brilliant yesterday. But no one's ever said he wasn't a brilliant footballer. We've all turned around and said, within reason, because there's no agenda here, nobody wants people to fail.
No agenda. He should be pulled up at the trading standards.
Well, yeah, because at that particular point, it's very difficult to argue to the contrary. What precisely had Gareth Bale done up until that particular point, besides being a willing substitute and a smiling, gurning voyeur from the stands?
Well, he'd been injured,
what else had he done? No.
For the most part, he'd been injured.
No, he hadn't been. He'd been getting fit. He'd been not match fit, not ready to play, not fit for purpose, not doing training, enjoying it, not doing it. Apparently, according to Mourinho, we got mixed messages. What we hadn't seen was the Gareth Bale that we saw yesterday. So it was perfectly apt to say, at that moment in time, that was where we were. Now, Gareth Bale, with 13 games of the season to go, 12 games of the season to go, so 26 games gone past, X amount of games in Europe, X amount of cup games, 35 games, £15 million later from what Gareth Bale has earned in salary, we're all going to say, wonderful, he's arrived. I'm sorry, that's half the problem with football. Half the problem with football is waxing lyrical about what people should be doing in the first place. All he's doing is what he should be doing, and now we're all going to jump on this wonderful gravy train saying, isn't he wonderful? Well, we all knew he was wonderful. That's why he gets £25 million a year salary. Surely. We surely can't now be saying, oh, well done for what you're doing, what you should be doing in the first place.
Well,
is that what we're saying?
If he goes out on Thursday night and pulls up trees against Fulham at Craven Cottage...
and does his job, are you seriously telling me that we get to say to somebody, well done for doing what you should be doing in the first place?
But you can't bring yourself to praise Bale for the performance that he put in at the weekend.
I just did. Get the wax out of your ears, Jimbo.
No,
I just did.
But you're saying no, but you always come away with, yeah, that's what he's paid to do.
But no, that's what he should be doing. That's the level that he's at. The disappointment for all of us, and it's not an unreasonable one, it's not sitting in the wings waiting to throw brickbats at people and be generally miserable. It's sitting there saying, why have we got a player that was signed in August that hasn't turned up until March or the very end of February? The very end of February. Now, the notion would be, and Danny's right to make the point, is we don't know what's going on the training ground. But can you seriously suspect that they've signed Gareth Bale on all the cost implications of it and sat there going, Mourinho, I don't fancy it. The wind's blowing from the west, I don't fancy playing Bale. Or maybe because Bale hasn't given him enough reasons on the training ground to put him in a side that clearly has been lacking for some time.
Where'd you stand, Danny, on what Chris Laker, one of our listeners, is saying this morning? He's saying Bale has had one good week since returning to England, but now he needs to do it until the end of the season.
My point precisely.
Now he's got to do it until the end of the season. I mean, I think Simon's driving towards that. But Bale is more than capable, in my view, of doing that until the end of the season and beyond. Is he not?
Well, we don't know that because he hasn't done it for so long. He might break down. He could have an injury. I mean, what we're hoping is that, and every Tottenham fan is hoping, he'll go on a great run now and keep him fit, because he could give them the impetus they need to push on to get back up the table. But
yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, the Tottenham fans right to a degree. I mean, he's had more than one good week. He's had some impact in other games. He's got 6 goals and I don't know how many assists, 3 or 4 assists. But he needs to justify the outlay. And at the moment, he hasn't quite done that for whatever reason. Ultimately, from a footballing perspective, I like to judge on what I've seen. And that's all we do week to week.
No,
what we saw
a
few weeks ago when we spoke about Gareth, we were just saying what we could see. And it wasn't a great
It was
picture.
fair comment.
It was.
It was fair comment.
Today, the balance has to be, yes, he looked great. Can he maintain it? We don't know. But we don't need to go overboard and eulogise about Gareth Bale. We know what he is. For Tottenham fans all across the country, they will be hoping and praying, keeping their fingers crossed that he continues this form, because it gives Tottenham a chance to have a good end to the season.
Well, that's right.
And the bigger question, Jim, was not a case of knowing what he is. We wanted to know what he was. And if you come over and you're heralded as this huge signing, and you're revered as this huge player, and you're paid the way you're paid, I'm sorry people don't like to hear it, but in any other walk of life, people have got to be really, really, really good to get these kind of monies, right? In football, it seems to be you don't have to. So all we've asked for is Gareth Bale to be like Ronsil. What it does on the can. Gareth Bale was supposed to be a really good footballer coming over here to add value to Tottenham. Until last week, he really hasn't.